I've got a 4-box quadrant and I'm not afraid to use it. More on that in just a minute. Thank you for joining me this morning on a quite rainy Monday morning here in the UK to take 10 minutes to get more from your career and more from your teams. What I'm going to be sharing today is really going to help you know where you are in your career in terms of your attitude and how you approach things. And if you are managing teams, it's a great way to try and recognize how they are approaching their career and how you can support them as well. So in my client work and from my research, I've defined 4 different types of career navigators, which I'm going to share in just a moment. Listen along as I go and have a think about whether you recognize where you are, which things really ring a bell for you. And if you've got a team member maybe that's being a bit of an enigma and you can't quite understand why they're not making the most of their career, this might help you as well if you can place them along there. So there are 2 different ways that I work with my clients. First is getting to know yourself. So that is all about how do you work out where you want to go? What are you good at? What are your unique strengths? What kind of work do you want to do more of? And also taking ownership and self-leadership of improving things in your career and getting a little bit better every day. The other axis is about getting that wonderful self out there into the world. So when you're out there in the world, you're good at communicating, you can bring others along on the journey, and you're helping others to help you. So the more people that help you find your next opportunity, the more likely you are to find something really exciting. So if you want a bit of extra help with this as I go along, one moment, you can click on that QR code and that will take you to a page where you can take a quiz to see where you fall on these quadrants. Click on the QR code, wait a moment, see if you can recognize yourself from what I'm saying first. So in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the passenger. So the passenger hasn't maybe spent a lot of time reflecting on where they really want to go and why and what they're good at. And they also don't have the communication skills to help them get there anyway. So here you might feel like you're spinning your wheels. You may stay in the wrong environment for too long because you don't trust yourself that you can do amazing things, which you definitely can. And you might not believe you really deserve to do those amazing things, and you definitely do. You might not be passive here. Just because it's called a passenger doesn't mean you're totally passive. You might be applying for lots of jobs online, but if you haven't taken the time to reflect on what you really want, and you haven't built up your job's communication skills to get there, you might be feeling quite frustrated, maybe a bit overwhelmed and a bit undervalued. Then in the next quadrant, we have our autopilot. So over here, the autopilot, they're very good at getting themselves out there. They might be really good at interviews, probably quite charismatic, generally good at their jobs as well. But because they haven't spent time reflecting on why they want to do what they want to do next, they can come across perhaps slightly shallow. You're a bit of a ship without a rudder over here. So I tend to see over here the multiple job hoppers. You change jobs, the thrill of the new job is really exciting. You feel like you're being challenged again, but then a year and a half in, you're like, this is still not fulfilling me. It's not scratching that itch. And you might be quite harsh on yourself. You might be saying, I should have worked it out by now. I've been in this kind of role for 8 years or whatever it is, and I still haven't found something that's fulfilling. Maybe I'm just not meant for something bigger, but you are. If we move over here to the top left, we've got the no-show. So the no-show is sort of flying under the radar. So they have done the work to know what they're good at, where they want to go, and they probably have quite a good plan. They tend to be people that have quite high integrity, really want to be authentic to themselves, but they haven't got the job hunt or communication skills to bring other people along on the journey. Now, what does that look like? It can look like being a bit shy and not being able to communicate what you want. It could also look like being a bit cocky because you know so well what you want to do and what you're good at, but if you haven't learn how to influence others in the right way, you can come across as a bit cocky and maybe demanding. So you may come away from a job interview thinking that things went well because you know that you're good at it, and you know that that's in your master plan. But then you might be surprised that you didn't get the job opportunity that you were hoping for. So you might be thinking here, like, why don't others recognize my skills? Why don't other people see what I'm doing well and helping me in my career? And then over in the top right, we have the pilot. So when you're a pilot, you know where you want to go. You've got a plan to get there, probably with some wiggle room to make sure that you can deal with any detours. Because you know what you're good at, and you're also bringing other people along on the journey, communicating what you want to do and why it's going to help them, you get to do more of the work that you're good at. And that means that you're the pilot. So you're not letting your self-doubt or your procrastination or perfectionism get in the way, and definitely not anybody else, any other people. So if your boss says you can't do something, you're probably like, well, I'm going to find a way. Your true self is kind of shining out. You're probably having a bit more fun because you've worked out this virtuous cycle of doing more good stuff means you get better at it, means you have more fun. You might be questioning sometimes, if you are a pilot, you might think, I sort of think I'm there, I'm not sure. And I just like to say it's really normal to have some wobbles or feeling of imposter syndrome, because if you're making changes, it's really normal to feel that kind of imposter syndrome or self-doubt. So it's more about your attitude, how you pick yourself up after those difficult times. Or you might be a pilot that's actually quite experienced. You might have been in this attitude for quite a while. And in that case, I think it's likely that you're running big projects, having a big commercial impact on the company, and probably managing teams as well. So really, if you're a pilot and you've been up there for a while, it's time to help others move over and become the pilots of their career as well. So next week, I am running a masterclass. So I'm putting up a new QR code here, and I would love to have some of you join my masterclass next week. It's all about building a career that you're really proud of without sacrificing your joy. So we're going to look at first, what's the really big goal? This is great for the autopilots. What's the really big goal that's going to make you really excited? Because when we're excited about a goal and working with purpose, we're more resilient, we overcome obstacles better. Then we'll take a look at what's your unique approach, what makes you, uniquely you. And then finally, how to break it down and take action. So here's what your different career navigator types will actually get from that masterclass. If you're a passenger, maybe you're curious how you can get a bit more from your career, but perhaps slightly overwhelmed, as I mentioned, this is a really nice entry point because it's got practical exercises and it's a safe space to experiment, and there's always a chance to ask me questions and test your ideas out in the masterclass. For my autopilots, like I said, this is definitely for you because we're working out the bigger picture rather than the next step. So rather than like, which job can I get that's going to get me out of this one, we're going to be working towards a bigger picture, and also making sure you have a bit of fun along the way and not beating yourself up for not doing enough. Then for my no-shows, I think you've probably already got a big dream. You probably already know what you're good at. But the key here is we're going to break it down into really, really actionable steps so you don't get stuck in dreaming mode and you have a bit more fun along the way. I think everyone needs to have a bit more fun along the way. So this is going to be really practical for you to reconfirm the big dream you've got and what you're good at, but also make sure you break it down into practical steps. And then for my pilots, if you're a less experienced pilot, these exercises will really help you accelerate and get there a bit faster. You're probably anxious and impatient to be doing more. It's a bit of a cheat code for getting more from your career, basically. And I'll also be sharing more about my career coaching program, Manifest, which you may also be interested in to get you there quicker. And then for my more experienced pilots that have been doing this for a while, this will probably help you get some inspiration for your team, some really practical exercises that you can bring to your team to help them also get the most out of their careers. And if you've been in the same role for a while as a pilot, it might help you get out of that rut and be reminded again of what makes you excited about your career. So you can join in the QR code up there. It's next Monday and Wednesday. That's 27th and 29th of October, 2025. I run my masterclasses every couple of months and I have a rotating couple of themes. So next week's one is all about working out who you are, as well as taking a bit of action. And then my other masterclass in a few months is going to be about how you communicate with others and take control of your career conversations. Lovely to see you. Congratulations again on taking 10 minutes to get more from your teams.